Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Corey, who had literally a 4-hour-a-day commute, 2 hours to the office and 2 hours back, working at his boring office job where he had not gotten a raise in 4 years before he found my course. He got digital marketing skills, hustled very, very hard, and now he has a $50,000 a year remote job where he can work from the comfort of his own home with no commute. And he's very excited, and I'm very excited to share his story with you. Thanks for being here, Corey.
Seth, thanks for having me. So right now I'm a PPC specialist and I'm making 50K.
That's awesome, man. And what,
Yeah.
Do you like the job? What's it like? And are you working remotely?
Yeah. So I'm working remotely, which I love. The team atmosphere, everything about it is just great. The work-life balance, the day-to-day work. So yeah, I'm loving it.
That's fantastic. And where's your company located and where are you located?
My company is located in Denver, Colorado, and I'm located in Baltimore, Maryland.
That's so great, guys. And I told you there's more and more of these remote opportunities every year. And we're going to get into how Corey actually got the job, because I know a lot of you guys are interested in remote work. It's a really, really cool, opportunity to have really good work-life balance and flexibility. So let's talk about how you actually got this job and your path. I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to it because it was a little bit of a twisty, windy road, and you really had a really cool career transition from an unsatisfying career to a very satisfying career. So what were you doing? What was your previous job before you were working digital marketing?
So prior to digital marketing, I was a office manager for a flooring manufacturer in Washington, DC. So yeah,
Cool.
It wasn't the best work. It was cool, but there was no upward mobility. And I was traveling very far for work. So it was kind of like draining me. And I just knew like I had to make a life change or a career change to reach the goals that I want to reach. So
Absolutely. And what were you doing before you were the office manager?
So before then, I was actually delivering for FedEx. I did that for 4 years, working very long hours and on weekends. And that's actually how I got the office manager job. Built a relationship just delivering to them over the years. And they considered me for the position once the old office manager left. So it was a pretty cool transition. I was making more, but like I said, the job itself didn't fulfill or didn't have any fulfillment in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And how do you like your current job compared to that job?
It's like night and day. And I say that just because like the work-life balance, the fulfillment of the work that I do, the team and the culture of the company, and it's remote. So I don't have to leave my house. So it's great.
That's so awesome. You said a lot of things. I just want to unpack all of that. So first of all, you said you were working for FedEx and do you have a college degree? Do you have a bachelor's degree?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. So this is like, there's a lot of really good stuff here and showing again, the opportunities and what's possible with digital marketing and getting these skills. So, but before that, you're working at FedEx and it sounded like you weren't being paid very much.
No. At FedEx, I was making like $600 a week. So yeah, it wasn't much money at all.
And you were working how many hours, you said?
10, 11 hours a day. In the snow, rain, sunshine, all of it. So
yeah, and you're doing very physical work. And then this is also, I think, really cool because the transition from FedEx to the office manager job was a victory. Like that was pretty cool. Like then you ended up making about 50K in this office manager position. And you got that job, even though you didn't have a college degree, because of the relationship you had built with the company, which again, guys, there's all these intangible things that employers are actually looking for instead of this piece of paper. They'd rather work with you because they got to know you over a period of time. And that in and of itself, I think is very cool. But as you described it, Like you were making about 50K, and how long did you work there?
At the office job,
Yeah.
4 years.
So in 4 years, did you get a raise?
Very minimal.
Yeah. So
No.
in 4 years, that's the other issue. So there's so many different stories. People come into this career, into my course, from so many different backgrounds, and that is a big issue a lot of people have. We've talked to people who work in fields like healthcare. I remember Noel, who I'm going to interview soon. He was working in healthcare for 11 years and barely got to 50K, 11 years. And Corey's working at this job, which was a step up from FedEx, but in 4 years, he didn't have any real upward mobility. So again, what was, I'm kind of alluding to it now, but what was the reason that you decided to get digital marketing skills and take the course?
So one, the upper mobility for sure, and to be doing work that I actually enjoyed. It's a huge career that's very in demand. Something we haven't discussed yet, but I had a lot of recruiters reaching out once I finished the course and did all the things you told me to do in the course about, updating my LinkedIn and everything. So just sorry.
What?
No, sorry. I didn't know if my alarm is going on, like my fire alarm.
I hope not.
Were you, you didn't hear
I
it?
couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
No
don't know.
worries.
I
No
was like, is
worries.
something on fire?
You're on fire, man.
Right.
And so what was it like working at your office job day after day? Like, what was the experience like for you?
So it's very routine. As I said, because I was working for a flooring manufacturer, I supported our sales team. So whenever architects and designers needed flooring samples, I would send it over to them, setting up meetings for them. So, more organizational type of stuff like that. But it became so repetitive where it's just like, oh my gosh, like, is there something else that I can be doing? Or I knew that there was something else that I can be doing. So it wasn't really fulfilling at all. And I got very bored. I would like for my mind to be stimulated somehow. And if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over, it just, it becomes draining at that point. So
Yeah. And plus you had that commute.
exactly. And the commute alone was just terrible. 2 hours one way. So like 4 hours of my day, I was just sitting in traffic.
2 hours? Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Even in LA, the most I did was about an hour and 15 minutes, but 2 hours each way. That
Yeah.
is really terrible. And there was no option to go remote, right?
No. So we were working, they gave, once the pandemic happened, we were working remote. But for my position, it was really, I couldn't really work remote technically, just because I had to be able to have hands-on samples and stuff like that. And
Right.
so,
Right. And now, just to illustrate the difference, now the day-to-day at this new job, what is it that you said you love it? What about it exactly do you love?
one, the team. I can't say enough about my team. Everyone's so helpful. I can ask as many questions as I need, because I have to learn their process of how they go about running PPC campaigns.
And you find it more like, I guess what I wanted to focus in on was the mental stimulation of the old job versus the new job.
Oh yeah. Because the decision making, I have to make with, optimizing accounts, checking budgets. It stimulates my mind rather than just doing the same old repetitive work day in and day out.
Yeah.
So
I think that's something, again, you never get educated in school about what different jobs are like. And my experience too, I even had a degree, but I ended up working all these boring office jobs, doing data entry, temp jobs, organizing stuff. And I experienced, because I was temping in my 20s, I experienced a lot of these office jobs, and it really was like being a robot.
exactly.
You're doing these tasks like like a robot, and there's never really an opportunity where you get to put your creative input into anything. There's never, you said it, I think that was actually a really good distinction you just made, decision making. Like
Right.
making decisions is actually creative. Like you actually have to, put a state, make a call about something that will have an impact. That's very empowering as well. And that's one of the things I ended up liking about digital marketing. It's like, and you don't get that in most of these other positions. They're like, hey, organize these spreadsheets or organize these files or deliver these samples. It's like running an errand, like a
No,
child
seriously.
could do it, So
Exactly.
I'm just getting into this a little more, guys. I know these interviews, I like to go in depth. It's because I know people ask, like, what's the job like and why is it different from other jobs? I'm like, yeah, that's one of the biggest differences I think I could speak to is the fact that you actually have to make choices and you're accountable for those choices. And sometimes it's a little bit intimidating, but then it's very exciting because then you get to test and learn and you have somebody, a team supporting you. And it just sounds much, much more fulfilling of a day-to-day experience. And that's why people like it so much. So that's a really good insight. So now, of course, we go back to, how did you actually get this job from being the, FedEx driver to then office manager? You obviously your resume didn't have any digital marketing on it at all. How did you find the course and what was it like taking the course and then, getting into the interview process?
Sure. So I found the course on YouTube. And then as I was going through the course, I found out about digital marketing through like listening to business podcasts. So that's what kind of like piqued the interest of the field. And then when I found your course online, I was like, oh, wow, okay. That's, this is going to be my ticket into digital marketing. And so as I went through the course, you taught, all the things you teach about SEO and PPC and how they work together and how modern day marketing is so much better than the marketing of the old days where you can actually target who your target audience is and deliver the service or product that they are looking for. And that was one of the biggest things that stood out to me is because I want to be in, business or own my own business one day. So knowing that there's something that gives you the power to market to the people that you want to market to and make sure and be able to track those conversions was just mind blowing. I was like, well, this is amazing. Like this makes marketing way better. So that was one of the biggest takeaways for me. And that's what got me excited. And then once I finished the course and on my interview, that was like one of the things that they loved. It was the enthusiasm that I had when I was talking about, why I got into digital marketing and how I generated my own experience. And so they were really fascinated with that.
Interesting. So, wow, there's a lot to unpack there, guys. I think, what you're speaking about, this is why I continue to teach this after 6 years and after being in the field for more than 10 years is because it is very exciting. And if you have that excitement, I love that you said that about your enthusiasm, guys. That's what I teach you guys in the course in the interview section. I'm trying to get you out of the worried about getting a job mindset into the just being enthusiastic mindset, because as Corey said, that's what not only got him the job, but interests people. They want to know, like, how did you learn about this? And what about digital marketing excites you? And it's not like, it's so funny. I have like, you're applying for other jobs. Like I applied for a temp job or whatever. And it's like, what excites you about data entry? Well, I really love typing repetitive shit. You could never honestly say it. Digital marketing, it is actually very exciting because it is so precise and so different from typical marketing. And I talk about this in the webinar a little bit, but I mean, you guys don't understand that like before the internet and before internet marketing, like advertising was so bad because like you literally just put out a TV commercial or a billboard that was super expensive and just hope it worked. And you had no idea how to actually tell if it was working or not. And it was super expensive. And now it's like cheap and scale, and even smaller businesses can advertise. And yeah. And so if you get that enthusiasm going, that's what attracts, employers to you, plus the knowledge, of course. So Now, as far as the timeline goes, a lot of my students watch these interviews and they think, oh, I tell you, don't compare yourself to the people in the interviews because they're exactly like you, and everybody has their own path and their own pace. So, when did you sign up for the course, and when did you get the job?
Okay, so I signed up for the course at the end of 2020. And then I didn't really dive in as deep as I should have just because of my commute, and it was hard for me to have the energy to put towards it. But then I started to recognize, well, I'm going to be stuck here if I don't actually take this course seriously. So in the beginning of this year, in January, I set a goal for myself that I had to have the course done by March, which I did. And then by by the end of May is when I got my job offer.
That's awesome. So guys, I know a lot of you guys can relate to this. There's like a couple of really important things. Number one, when you actually, there's a difference between when you buy the course and when you actually apply everything, and we've heard everybody has different timelines, and it's all good because life happens, right? Now you're dealing with 4 hours a day of commuting, which I can't even fathom. I mean, that is like, what is that? 20 hours of driving a week.
Exactly.
And that is such an energy drain. So you really had to really push to get through that. So I can totally appreciate that it took you that long to get to that point. Because most, I get people writing to me or working overnight shifts or working 11-hour days, and I totally sympathize. But I think you're a really good example and inspiration of that it is possible once you set your mind to it. So you bought it at the end of 2020, but you really didn't start till this year. And you started in January, and you finished the course in March, and you got the job in June. So that's 3 months. That's a 3-month, but 6 months total, but 3 months from when you finished the course. So it sounds like for 3 months you were interviewing, right? Were you like, what was it like when you finished the course and started doing, sending out your applications? What was that like?
So that was interesting for me as well, just because I sent a bunch of resumes out. I don't know how many I sent out or how many, applications I filled out, but I applied for the job I have now in April, and then they reached back in May for an interview, and then that was my first interview.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and then they brought me back for a second interview, and then they offered me the job. So yeah, that's pretty much how my process went.
Wow, that sounds like a match made in heaven. And so during the interview process, when you were talking with the company that eventually hired you, like, what was that like? Like, what kind of questions were they asking you? And, did they ask you about about your college degree?
No college degree at all. That didn't come up at all. The questions they asked were more like culture fit questions. So like my first interview, it was more like, why did you get into digital marketing? How did you get into digital marketing? And then they asked me some technical questions, but not really, maybe like one or two. And then for the second interview, it was pretty much the same. Like they asked me, because I had to interview with the director, they asked me pretty much the same questions, how I got into it, and more just general cultural fit type questions, and just maybe like 2 technical questions.
Right. Yeah. And we've heard that a lot, guys. I mean, there's some agencies and companies that are going to give you like very intense skill assessment tests. But a lot of the times, as I've said again and again, these companies, like you said, you applied for this job in April and you didn't hear back till May. And what that says is that they were looking for a month and they couldn't find anybody, right? That's what I said. Or they got a lot of bad applications or people who didn't have the skill sets. And they came back and they're really looking for somebody who fits with the culture and also has the basics and can speak the language. I'm going to sneeze. I don't think I've ever sneezed during an interview. That's wacky. Maybe I should leave that in. So what was it like when you actually got the job offer?
So when I got the job offer, they sent it over and I was extremely happy because everything like came to fruition. Like, it's like, wow, this is really happening. My wife was so proud of me. She was very happy for me. Um, and I was just very happy just because I set a goal out and I accomplished it. And for it to be such a life-changing career for me, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot. So once I got the job offer, of course I accepted, and yeah, they brought me on board, and I'm finishing up my 4th week of onboarding this week. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. And I love to see your vibe changes when you talk about it. I can see that you genuinely love it. And so at this point, so they've just been training you, or like when you say onboarding, you're getting training, right?
Yep. Yep. So they're starting to hand me accounts and give me my own budgets, and I'm building out my own campaigns. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's so great. And what kind of budgets are you working with?
Um, so right now it's about 150 to 200,000.
A month?
Yeah.
That's great. Is that like one account or multiple accounts?
So multiple accounts. The agency I work for specializes in multifamily. So it's for multiple accounts. Oh yeah.
Multifamily, you mean like apartment complexes? What do you?
Yep.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah,
kind of in
apartment
real
complex.
estate.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, dude. I mean, what I teach you guys is that you're like a free agent. You're like, I don't know, LeBron. So like you're like, so I like say like I would have said Michael Jordan, but whatever. Although he stayed with the Bulls his whole career, if you
Right.
find an agency, but you have that option. If you find an agency that you really love and you love the people and the culture and they're willing to reward you, then definitely stay there. I've had both things happen with students. I've had people that love the company that hired them and they've compensated them. I had one student, I remember I just interviewed like a month ago or 2 months ago, where they got hired at 40K a year, and now he's making 80. So they doubled his salary, and that's what an agency should do. Because one of the things you'll see on LinkedIn a lot, I see a lot of posts about this, and it's actually accurate, which is that people tend to get better pay raises when they switch companies, because the other
Right.
company wants to attract new talent. So they'll give you the $20,000 raise or the $30,000 raise, whereas your original company might only give you a 10% raise. But in digital marketing, if it's a good agency, they'll give you the proper raise. So hopefully you'll be able to grow with this company and get up to 60, 70, 80K within a year or two. And then if not, you can just go somewhere else, because there are so many companies looking. But I
For
hope,
sure.
if you like the culture and the people, I hope that they respect that and do the right thing. But now what's just exciting for me is that you're not going to go 4 years without a raise
Right.
right.
Sure.
Uh, absolutely. Yeah, it's really tough to think about, careers like with inflation and everything. Like, if a company isn't giving you annual raises, it's almost like you're losing money. So you definitely want to be in a field where you can grow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's gonna happen within this field, just because the growth in this field is huge.
Absolutely, man. So I think this is great. I love to, again, share a student, a recent hire. So you're fresh into the process. I definitely want to circle back with you in like a year and see where you are, which will be really exciting. So, and I appreciate you sharing your story with us. Is there anything else you want to say to me or anybody watching the interview?
Sure. One, thank you for the course. Thank you for putting it out. It's helping so many people change their lives. So I'm definitely grateful for that. Anyone who's considering the course and you want to get into digital marketing, this is going to be your ticket in for sure. If I could do it working 8 hours a day, traveling 4 hours a day, then anyone can do it. So yeah, that would be my piece of advice. Take the course, do everything he says in the course, and it'll definitely pay off.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. And again, I'm so happy for you. It's great to talk to you. So yeah, man, we'll circle back in the future and, enjoy your job and your new career.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.